wish the community, I wish the county, I wish the state of California, and even the entire United States saw what actually takes place at this juvenile hall. I can't speak for any other juvenile hall, but we're a rare breed here.
I think as a community, you have to decide what your value for your youth is. We've got to do things differently.
If we don't believe in change, what the hell are we doing? Like, if we don't believe in change, then we should lock every kid up and just keep them in their room and do the mandatory school stuff, and that's it. And, you know, that's ridiculous.
The limiting factor here, the bottleneck for our progress here, is the brick and mortar facility that we're in.
The goal of closure here is eventually to replace this facility with a state-of-the-art facility that meets today's needs, as well as provide a hub of services that families can access as well. That's what we envision.
You have all of these emotions of like, is this real? Is this a dream? I'm gonna wake up any moment.
So I believe it was in January, I got an email from my boss that said we need to have a mandatory all-staff meeting. Every single person needs to be here, like it's mandatory, make arrangements, be here. And so it was like, okay, this is serious. I think that if you asked every single person in the department, or if you did a survey, everybody thought the South Lake Tahoe facility was closing.
We heard rumors and we knew that a place was going to be closing. And so those of us here in Juvenile Hall assumed it was going to be the Juvenile Treatment Center in Tahoe, incorrectly.
As I'm listening, it's just all clicking. Like, everything that he's saying makes perfect sense in the long run. Like, our building was built in '71, the one in Tahoe was built in '05. This facility is so outdated, it's been grandfathered in for everything that's been passed in California, that if we try to even keep this thing up to date, we'll be spending more money trying to upkeep this building than building a new facility.
Man, to think about all the people that have come through these doors, I mean, from back when I was in school and before then, and the people that have come through this door as of recent, it's crazy. I love this city, I love this town. I'm gonna miss this place, I am. And I'm gonna miss all the people I've worked with.
It was sort of like you got the wind knocked out of you a little bit, because you know that it's a resource that you're losing in the community. I mean, there's people that have worked in this facility for 14, 15 years, and so there's a real emotional connection to this place, the walls and the building itself.
The thought of losing that kind of is saddening. There's a lot of memories here, just like any normal home. And I was talking to another coworker. This has been home. We've worked in the same crappy building for the last 4 years. And even though it's a crappy building, it's still something we know intimately.
It was definitely a change for the staff from where we were to where we got to. But, you know, in the end, the staff were the ones driving the change.
Juvenile justice facilities were built to essentially be small jails. In the 70s, 80s, and even into the very early 90s, they were built with a different thought process in mind. That safety and security were paramount and uniquely focused on. Programming was an afterthought. And in today's context, we recognize that safety and security continue to be paramount, but they share the stage with treatment, intervention, therapy, rehabilitation.
The staff took on more of a mental health role, if you will, in terms of having compassion for the kids. You know, we really tried to do both, provide a safe environment for the kids in the facility, but also try to transform them back out to the community and as a positive, productive member of society.
When I started here, really what we were about was surviving the day. We had 40 beds, but typically we're running about 55 to 60 kids in custody here.
Well, initially when it started here at Juvenile Hall, it was a very small facility, kind of a mom and pop operation. So our duties were to do a little everything. There was no cook, prepare meals, order meals. The supervisor's job was to make sure clothes were here. Food was in the kitchen, and we just had to do everything.
When I first subbed here before the 30 days, classroom 2 was the wood shop auto shop. And this classroom over here is an academically focused classroom.
That's all that was here when I started. Just the jail across the street and the sheriff's office and Juvenile Hall, and the street stopped right there.
This place has been here a long time.
It's tired. It probably should be retired. But there's also a lot of good memories here. I think it is a heartbreaker, but I think it's also needed.
You know, it's certainly changed the whole juvenile justice system over the last 22 years. And now we have less kids than we have staff here, so.
This facility is outdated, it's beyond its useful time. It's time for a change, and you know, our staff was our biggest asset. And you know, seeing the facility close is sad because you know the facility somehow gets responsibility for being part of the success. The facility aren't the people. The people are what made this place special.
There has been a massive swing in the population, in the criminality in our youth, and most of the juvenile halls in California have vacancy rates of 50 to 60 to 70 to 80%. But there has not been a massive swing in the trauma that our youth are experiencing.
I mean, obviously incarcerating children is not the #1 choice. And once we get that new facility built, it's going to be much more adaptable to the type of programs that the youth in this area need.
It's going to be a hard impact on the county, I think, while there isn't a facility here because of the driving the kids up to Tahoe and having to come back and forth for court and family, the burden on them, because a lot of these families don't have the ability to even come here to visit their kids, let alone to drive an hour and a half, up to 3 hours depending on weather. Even though it might be a burden on the community for these couple years while the facility is being built, what the chief has in mind with the new facility, I think will be a huge benefit to the community.
This is not like any other juvenile hall.
7 or 8 years before I got here, I had noticed that El Dorado County was something special.
It's amazing. I mean, I could talk about each and every one of them. They are really, really special people that really care for the kids. They have a staff here that it really has a lot of empathy.
They are literally some of the best people I've worked with in the industry.
We were a tight group of probation officers.
I best describe us as a functioning dysfunctional family.
A dysfunctional family.
Family, not only to each other, but to the kids.
Your family, you know, it's your home away from home. You know, I have friends forever here.
This is my second family, and the best part of my job is the people that I work with.
We're a family. I mean, the people we work with, we have each other's back.
We work so well together because we trust each other. There's 17 of us working in this building, and so we've had that ability to become family-like, to joke and have fun with each other and interact in a way that most employees don't get to work with each other.
Well, I feel like we're a big dysfunctional family.
At home, you're supposed to have a family. Some of the kids that come in here, they don't have relationships. And so when they see the staff on shift interact with each other and have a very close relationship and a close bond, I truly think that the youth look at that and they want that. You know, they want to learn how to have that.
One of the main characteristics I think to work here, I think, is you got to have a lot of patience,
understanding,
compassion.
I think friendly.
Empathy. I think empathy is a big one.
Patience.
Safety and security.
You got to be willing to fail and succeed in the same day.
This place is not for everybody.
You got to be bulletproof.
What the statute says juvenile hall is supposed to be, home-like environment, and we're not supposed to do any harm. I think we as staff decided that wasn't asking enough of us. And so we tried to make it as much like a home, and at the same time tried to do some good.
No one person can have all of the characteristics necessary.
And we work really well together. We make things happen.
We make a difference, and we've seen that in the kids.
We spend so much time here working with these staff and the kids. It's your own family. You know, you spend so much time, you spend more time here than you do with your coworkers and these kids than you do with your own family. You know, and like I said, just the passion working with these kids and seeing the progress that it's making has really kept me here.
The best part of my job would be the success stories.
We sell these kids short, and it's not fair. And when you put a little faith in them, they will surprise you with what they're able to accomplish.
When I think of all the kids that have come back to us, and that just really makes me feel like, you know, we did what we're supposed to do. And I don't think there's anything that can compare to that.
The best part of my job, without hands down, is that I get to watch the impact of the work that my staff do with our clients. And I get to see example after example after example of people saying thank you, people saying you saved my life, people saying you've made such a huge difference to my family. We were broken and now we're not. That is very easily the best part of my job.
I've had several kids over the years come and talk to me and say, hey, you know what, you've changed my life. And just know that you were a part of that.
You come across kids that for years they come in and out of juvenile hall, and you learn about who they are, you learn about their family, you learn about their upbringing and their challenges. And then one day they come back through the front door to say hi and to share with you how they've turned their life around, and they want you to know that. That's the best part, is that they actually come back to this place that they never wanted to be, just to share with you that I'm doing good. I got a job and I have a car and I'm doing really well. And the fact that they want to come back and say hi and share that with us is the best part.
You know, I had nowhere to go a lot of the times. Just saying like, well, I'm gonna be in here the rest of my life and prison's my next step is what I honestly thought. You know, no foster home is gonna take some 16-year-old with a record, and I have no family. I can't go to my grandmother's house. I can't go to my parents. I can't even see my parents. I never realized that I was just angry and upset and hurt. This whole experience taught me that I can be a different person. Definitely life is what you make it. No matter what has happened to you, no matter the circumstances you are given, that it can be what you make it. It's definitely been good that I can have a relationship with the staff, and even though it's closing, I can still talk to some of the staff I'm very close with. But it was definitely like, wow, this little place is gonna be gone. Like, I'm not gonna be able to drive by and be like, oh, I live there, you know?
Mom's in and out of jail. Dad, you know, step pops just got out of prison. You know, death, prison, addiction, that was pretty much the cycle. And I didn't see myself as excluded from that, so. The sad but true thing for me is that the relationships that I established with some of the staff here were stronger and more deep and more real than the relationships I have with my own mother or, you know, my stepdad or cousins and uncles, because it wasn't built around what I can get from you. It was, you know, it was real relationships, which is what can I give to that person.
For me, I realized more being locked up as a kid, because if I wasn't probably locked up as a kid, I'd probably be in jail right now or even dead. When I would go through counseling, I was able to speak about my trauma and be able to get feedback and coping skills.
When I decided that I wanted to change my life and not go to jail when I was an adult, I got so much help trying to figure that out, and there was a lot of staff who were trying to help me find a place to go, and I eventually ended up getting released into New Beginnings when I turned 18, and I was shocked that even after I was out, I still would get visits from staff still in their uniform while they were on the clock, who made it like a part of their job and a priority to come and see me and make sure I was still there.
I've been to a lot of institutions, a lot of institutions, and this is the only place that I've been where they, you know, they legitimately care, you know, and it shows. Sure that a lot of these staff didn't feel like there was much hope for me, you know. I thrived on just causing mischief. Like, that was literally my purpose for, I just wanted to just ruckus, make shit harder on people, and you know, looking at it to where there I was having to not leave my cell without having shackles on because they were worried I was going to assault somebody, to now being able to go in there just shows you that there is hope for people, and there is people can change.
At first it was rough. I'm glad that I went through this in life, and I'm kind of like, it might sound bad, but You know, I'm glad for kids that get in trouble sometimes because sometimes they need that to change their life. Being in juvenile hall helped me a lot with setting programs. You know, when I say setting programs, I mean me getting used to waking up at a certain amount of time and saying, you know what, today I'm gonna do this, this, and this. And by the time I hit dinner time, my day's over with. Not just something to do at the time, but for life. You know, you're learning these things that's gonna help you as an adult when you grow up.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It is Wednesday. We got a hot breakfast waiting for us this morning. It is time to wake up for the cleanup.
Good morning. Do you want to help with wing cleanup?
I'll usually do the wake-up call in the morning and just, hey, time to wake up, have a good day, you know, just try to be positive on the radio.
The daily routine at the juvenile hall would be getting them up in the morning.
We come on shift, we help them get them up for school, and we do a lot of things that teach them how to be productive people outside the facility.
So once staff stays down here, usually we have some more kids that will help clean, and then once staff stays down here logging in the room checks, supervising these kids, and then the other staff goes down and does the mopping and the toilets with the other youth and gets the room checks. We started painting the chalkboard on the back of the doors and giving the kids chalk so they've got somewhere to doodle instead of carving and tagging on the walls and the floors, which for the most part has helped, but there are still kids that like to leave their permanent mark in juvenile hall.
They don't appreciate it because they don't understand it, but we have them clean, and that's to help teach them good cleaning habits, have them clean their own rooms, have them clean different areas of the facility, then getting them ready, having breakfast, teaching those habits of being successful, going to school.
Green shirts are honor status, that's our highest status. The purple shirts are job status, that's the next level down, and then the gray shirts are full status. So the gray shirts down there are up in the morning helping so they can earn job status. Most kids like to help in the morning. There are some kids that will fight it, but for the most part, everybody, once they get booked and they get into a routine, they want to be out of their rooms as much as possible, and this is the way to do it.
It's a new month. Who's doing the push-up, sit-up challenge today? Yeah. I don't know what you're up to. I'll have to check the list. All right, gentlemen, it is time to line up for chow. Utensil count is 9. All right, gentlemen, turn face chow hall. Come on in.
I seen a dope dealer turn into a hope dealer.
Quiet until everyone's been served, please. Honor status. Two strips, please. That's all right. Just dip it in my coffee, soften it up a little bit. Huh? Oh, eventually, I haven't heard anything about dates yet. Well, I know we stopped taking intakes. No more new intakes. Today's our first day with no intakes yet. There was one, it was a catch and release. That's what I like to call them. Hey, Wing, line up.
This is a tough group of kids to service. They did something to get here. At the same time, you know, they're not here to be punished. You know, their punishment is their time they're taken away from their families, not how we treat them here. And that was something that the staff really embraced and made a lot of positive changes with while we're here. And you know, one of the main partners was the school.
The challenges that the students face that even brought them into the facility, they're also walking into the classroom with.
Every day is like the first day of school potentially. Every day you come in and you could have lost 3 of your kids and have 4 new kids come in, and then they don't know the rules and you know they don't know your routines, and they're also kind of emotionally a mess when they come in here.
I guess the major challenge was you had to teach anyone that got arrested, and that meant your grades and ages varied, their abilities all vary, just depending, it could change overnight.
So, responsibility requires action.
We have a really amazing team of educators here, and we've been able to accomplish quite a few things.
The dynamic between the education system and the probation system. When they're locked up here, you're kind of both parents. They're spending 8 hours a day or close to 8 hours a day in school, and then the rest of their time with probation, and you have to really be, you have to have good communication.
Some of the challenges in the detention setting are really being able to identify where the students are academically and having them all in the same classroom at the same time.
Doing what I should do, doing what I said I would do, doing what is best for everybody, especially doing the one thing I should be doing right now.
Hard to ditch school when you're in juvenile hall. We will come and get you and bring you to class.
Absolutely, the most rewarding part of this job is seeing the students succeed. You know, watching kids come in that don't trust me or what's going on in the system here, blossoming into these educated, thoughtful people who really want to succeed and want to find a way to do things differently when they get out. You know, that's and then ultimately as a teacher, watching kids graduate, that's one of the most powerful things that I've experienced here.
A course of studies in accordance with the requirements of the State Board of Education for high school graduation, and this diploma is granted on this day, 2019.
Kids who are really bad in mainstream school do so much better here. They get so much more individual attention from the teachers and the aides that they can accomplish a lot.
Not only is it challenging to meet the students where they are academically, but also socially and emotionally.
One of our biggest goals with JSC is these pro-social activities and helping them build their self-esteem and making those good choices. It's a lot of what we see the staff do.
That's part of the timing. We're not going to wash our brush a lot, but if we do wash our brush.
And one of my roles as superintendent was to partner with as many community members as we could and develop that resource so that we were, you know, building productive kids.
I was introduced to the Juvenile Service Council, which is known as JSC. When I retired, I worked 25 years in law enforcement.
I first noticed or was around when JSC started in about 1981. They came in and gave the kids a really big break from the day-to-day in here.
So we come in 2 or 3 times a month. We have different various activities. Tonight our activity is we have a local artist and she brings in all the supplies and we reimburse her from our fundraising. And the kids get to paint a picture, and it's fantastic. To see their esteem built up by this is really, really cool.
So for Christmas, we put on a party for the kids, and we're lucky enough that Santa Claus comes.
And there was a moment in the dining room that I looked around, and it was Christmas Eve, and these kids were in juvenile hall, and they were all smiling and laughing and having a great time. And a lot of them had never decorated a gingerbread house before, which made me so sad. We
have a good party. We give out a lot of gifts. We celebrate Christmas and just enjoy each other in a relationship that we think is unmatched as far as a teenager and an older adult.
There's absolutely an impact that you see the way that they open up. You can tell that they know we care about them.
You know, I don't know exactly when it started. It came to our attention that some of the staff here were in the armed services and they were overseas. Somebody came up with the idea, hey, we need to do a flag salute. And we think it's important. We think it's a part of our place. We even stole a flag one time from the judge's chambers so that we could bring it up here and we could do it with a real flag. And we got caught putting it back. But we think it's very important to honor the people who serve our country. And we want to instill that in kids. You know, some people would say, well, maybe it works, maybe it doesn't. But all the kids stand up. We only had one kid, I think, in all the time I've been here, not stand up and be thankful to the flag for what it means to be in America.
At the end of our program for the evening, male JSC members line up on one side and they shake hands with the kids as they go out the door. And then the lady JSC members, we line up and We are there, and nobody's forced to do anything. But if this kid wants a hug, they get a hug. And there's some kids, probably because of their background and stuff, they're happy with a handshake from the ladies. But I'll be darned, the next week, that kid wants a hug, and they get a hug.
So join me, I think you know it. Friend, I will remember you, think of you, and pray for you. And when another day is through, I'll still be friends with you.
When I first came in here to work, it had more of a jail-type adult environment. And even though it's still designed that way, we don't run it that way anymore.
The kids in juvenile hall generally are going through the worst times in their lives. And to be able to do something positive in that is just amazing.
Staff of probation officers, I mean, they think outside the box. They're not afraid to come up with different ideas to help a kid be successful.
You could have the best training in the world. We've had the best training, but that doesn't mean that you're going to be a good officer. You know, if you're not a good listener, you're really not worth anything.
The staff who really excelled learned that it's about relationships. So if you build relationships with the kids, they will follow you. So you got to be who you are, you got to be honest, you got to be truthful and trustworthy, and treat them with respect. And if you treat them with that, they'll bring it back to you. And really all they need is somebody, any adult in their life, trying to support them through the challenges of growing up. That's what the staff here have done, is they've stepped into that role.
We all deal with mental health, like depression, anxiety. Those are mental health issues. It's life, you know what I mean? Like, why not talk about it? There is help out there for them, that they're not horrible kids, they're not bad kids. There are things that can help them succeed in life, that they're more than what got them here. So there's trauma.
This is a safe place for some kids, you know, even when they grow up, they'll come and visit us and stuff.
There are so many amazing people that work here. For all the years I worked here, this last staff, when I retired, was just incredible. So, I mean, they were so creative and they did so many cool things for kids, and I guess my immediate thought was, shoot, you know, not everybody's going to get to keep their position, and that really bothered me.
Or if they do, they're not going to want to make the journey.
Our county, and because of the people that are working here, is easily one of the best that are out there doing this work. People with a huge heart, strong skill set, and people who are willing to take on new challenges. Yeah, I think what any of our staff would say is that facilities can either support the mission, or facilities can be in the way of the mission. And what's amazing is that the staff here in Juvenile Hall do phenomenal work in spite of their environment.
Because it's not always a fun place to work, but I think what makes it fun is the people that you work with and the relationships that you build with each other. So breaking up that is kind of unfortunate, but to get to a goal of having a state-of-the-art facility that meets the standards of today, and we can have more effective change of youth in the future, you know, it's kind of worth the sacrifice for that.
The team here is so amazing, and the services that we provide for these kids are so amazing that I'm really sad that our families aren't going to be getting those services locally right now.
You know, and like I said, my hope is that in the future we'll have a facility here in Placerville that is able to serve all of the youth that come through. So.
You know, if you don't believe in rehabilitation, if you don't believe in, you know, change is possible, then why do anything?
We're probation officers, we're counselors, we're mentors, we're people who genuinely care about these kids. That's who we are, and it's just what we do.
Daily, with no compromise. Lord, I just wanna you never gave up on me. In you I'm made strong. Thank you for your grace and mercy.
Charm is deceitful, beauty is fleeting. You try doing right, but doing wrong so easy. Flesh of the spirit, which dog are you feeding? One gets stronger and the other stops breathing. Me, I need God, he don't really need me. Yeah, he still loves me, and he'll never leave me. Hop up in the word, early morning deep.